Okay, here we are at the top of Turkey Mountain. This is where you're supposedly you go to find the Gwen stone. Okay, we're at Turkey Mountain Wildlife Refuge, Park, whatever. And as you see, you come to a crossing here. There's three paths you can take. Which path to take to find the Gwen stone? It's completely at the flip of a coin. But we'll press on and we'll attempt to find something.
The explorers were getting close. They knew it, but night was falling, lending a new sense of urgency to achieving the desired goal. Who knew what evil lurked in the nights of Turkey Mountain? Frustration and nerves were being tested to the snapping point.
There's a great view of the river, the railroad track, downtown Tulsa, and it's a bluff. It's like a bluff all along there. The Gwen stone could be anywhere along there for probably half a mile or so. There's so many levels of rock strata that, and it could be anywhere. A person would have to come down here, would either have to know exactly where it's at, or if you're like us, explorers, you have to come down here and just kind of work your way along the side from about here down, and maybe you'd find it. Well, the adventure's not over yet. We will find it, but I think the sun is getting a little low, and it's time that we should go. And I was a poet and didn't know it. Thank you very much. You can.
All right. Well, let's go. Let's hope that some of those people aren't waiting for us by the car.
The night one, this day. What exactly is the Gwen stone? Authoritative answers were needed. One authority on the Gwen stone itself is Bill O'Brien, graphic artist, amateur archaeologist, and leading member of the Tulsa Archaeological Society.
Yeah.
Okay, you've been to Turkey Mountain, and you told me that you had heard about this, and this is what's called the Gwen site inscription. Mm-hmm. It's a petroglyph, and it represents, from interpretations or decipherment by Dr. Barry Fell, two languages. The top is Ogham and the bottom is Punic, or the language of the Phoenician and the language of the Celt. Now, in Fell's translation, both of these say the same thing. They say the word Gwen, which in each language, or in the language forms, means white. So, what's unique about this is that you have two distinctly different languages saying the same thing. Punic, which is Phoenician, and this is Ogham, which is Celts. The Celts came from Central Europe. The Phoenicians were out of the Mediterranean. At the period that we're talking about, you're looking at, I believe, pre-Carthaginian. So you're dealing with the first real evolvement of the Phoenician as traders in conjunction working with the Egyptians. We know from history that the Celts were mercenaries to anybody who'd pay the bill. And so the Celts were, you might say, the ground troops or the gun fodder for the Phoenicians and possibly the Egyptians. Yeah. So what you might have represented here is an expedition to the North American continent. It came out of the Mediterranean area that was financed by the Egyptians, executed by the Phoenicians, and the Phoenicians brought along the Celts to throw into the problem areas, to do the digging and the hard work, and to stand up against anybody that they were encountered that they might have to fight.
At the University of Tulsa, Professor Mike Whalen of the Anthropology Department was able to offer a different explanation.
You walk around the countryside and you scan rock outcrops for something
You can look at it and say, ah, that looks like writing
Mm-hmm.
to me. And, you know, it might be writing, it might be weathering cracks. The professional archaeologist, on the other hand, would say, wait a minute, if you're going to say that ancient Irish or Carthaginians or Vikings or anybody like that made these scripts, why did they come here? How did they get here? Where are the rest of the remains? The only way that we'll accept to document particular people's presence here in the Americas is if we can find archaeological sites, artifacts, stuff they left behind. All these people are metal-using peoples in the Old World, and there are no native metals in the New World. So the sites ought to be real recognizable. Not one has ever been found.
They dwell on more specific scientific proof, and to date, they have not accepted the criteria of scientific data that Fell and other apographers are coming forth with. They want something in conjunction with this. They want to know, they want helmets, they want pottery, they want other physical evidence of these cultures that they were on this continent.
Just because you find something in a script that looks like an Old World script doesn't mean that a person from that time period wrote it. Like I could, for example, go out to Turkey Mountain right now with a hammer and chisel and carve an inscription in Latin or Greek there. You know, I studied Latin when I was in school, so I could work up a sentence in Latin, go out and carve it on the rock there, and if someone else came by and found it, that wouldn't mean that a Roman came there and carved it. It would simply mean that somebody who knew that script carved it. I think this is the case with the inscriptions that are attributed to the Vikings, to the Norsemen.
Did this really happen? Academically in the United States, this doesn't exist as far as being a true petroglyph created by somebody from the period of 500 BC. So really what we're looking at is the opening of the door, another door into the past that allows us to look back, and what it's telling us is there's another story to the evolution of American history that we need to go back and look at.
It's possible that Old World people came over here and left these inscriptions and vanished. I couldn't say that it's impossible, but I would say that it's improbable given the fact that the archaeological record of the Americas contains nothing whatsoever.